Welcome to the latest episode of Game Rival. I am your host, Maximilian X, here, coming to you from the interwebs. And to you that are watching this on YouTube, hello to you as well. This is the first time in a really long time since I've also done a video portion of this. Hopefully, I'm assuming that this goes well, and there actually is a video version that goes live at the same time as the audio version that you're listening to right now. Uh, Gosh darn it, there is a lot of news to talk about. Well, there's a lot of news that is big to talk about. Um, and, I just want to get into it. I don't want to make this a super long episode, but there are some things that we have to talk about, of course. And what else? We have to start off with Microsoft and the Activision Blizzard case with the FCC. They went to court uh, about 2-ish weeks ago is when it started. And last week, as of this recording, um, yeah, the judge gave it to Microsoft in the sense that the judge didn't think that the FTC brought up enough evidence to prove that Microsoft would be taking Call of Duty away from like, the PlayStation platform or any other platform, at least for the foreseeable future. And that, like PlayStation should like not worry about it, and FTC should not worry about it. That they have at least faith that Microsoft will bring their video games to the masses, not just to their own system. And I gotta say, I after all the weird random stuff that we got from that court case, there's so much that came out, all the way from what PlayStation uh, spent on making The Last of Us Part 2 and Horizon Forgotten West, I want to say, to like weird accusations and Bobby Kotick making really stupid statements and everything in between. There's like so much. If you want to like look it up, it's all out there. The court papers are out there. It's way too much for me to cover. But suffice to say, the fact that Microsoft won this so close to their deadline with Activision Blizzard is nothing but a stroke of luck for them, because the deadline for the deal to be like finalized is on the 18th of July, which, if you're listening to this, has already passed, which probably means there already has been an update since I'm recording this during the day here in Europe. Um, we have no updates regarding to that case with the deal. So I guess we'll talk about this a bit later, or um, if at all. At this point in time, basically we can just say that it's gonna happen, right? Barring some weird stuff that they weren't able to finish off on the 18th. Well, if they aren't able to finish it off on the 18th, we do know one thing for sure is that Microsoft would owe Activision Blizzard $3 billion, and then they have to renegotiate the terms of the deal. Which, if that happened, I don't know. I don't think that would be the case. But if that were to happen, there is a non 0% chance that Activision Blizzard might say, you know what, never mind. I don't think that's going to be the case, mostly because some weird things have been going on. Like, for example, I maybe it's slightly unrelated, but there was an update this past weekend with Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, and Warzone 2.0 that did not really go well. And they're working on it. I think they've fixed it by now. At least I hope so. They fixed it by now. I'm not really a Call of Duty player, so or at all. So I wouldn't know. This is just the news update that I've been getting. Um, but something interesting also happened at the same time. Over the past weekend, the Xbox 360 servers for some old Call of Duty games also went online again, and a lot of people started playing. I think it was for Modern Warfare 2, I think, Black Ops 2, and another game. Like at least 3 games on the 360, old Call of Duties, was playable again on the 360 online, and a lot of people flooded to it. Apparently, I mean, not like literally millions, but like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people playing old, reliable multiplayer of Call of Duty, because it was there to play. That is very surprising. I'm surprised that a lot of people got wind of this, first of all, and that they had their Xbox 360s. I'm assuming they're Xbox 360s, or if they're playing it with backwards compatibility. I don't know if that's the case. Um, that they're playing it through that. It's crazy. It's almost endearing and inspiring in some ways. Um, yeah, again, not really my scene, but yeah. Um, I don't know who flipped the switch on that one. I would have to assume it would have been Microsoft. It could have also been Activision Blizzard trying to deflect or at least offer a like kind of temporary solution to Call of Duty fans to be playing something else. It is very interesting to see. I don't know how long these servers were up, or if they're still up, or if they will remain up for whatever time they may remain up. But for those that enjoy those games, have at it. It is up. Um, but yeah, like it seems like the deal probably will go through, and yeah, I guess a lot of things are going to change for Microsoft and Activision Blizzard, and when they finally are able to completely wrap up the deal, seal the deal, as it were. And they're also going to, of course, going to be renegotiating deals with terms with the CDMA in the UK, especially since they're the only holdouts at this point in time that were blocking, that were at least trying to block Microsoft from acquiring Activision Blizzard. So whatever deal they end up striking with the CMA about the whole cloud gaming thing, it's probably going to happen sooner rather than later. So I'm keeping an eye out on that news, of course, and of course all other news out there pertaining to this merger and everything else in between for that. Um, but speaking of mergers, or I would say the lack of one, actually this is more about a split. So take of that what you will. And when I say a split, it's more of a split from a company. So the co-president of Naughty Dog is retiring after 25 years. He will be retiring, I think, in October. Um, yeah, if I'm not even saying that correctly. Just looking. Yeah, so that means that Neil Druckmann will be the solo president after the departure um, of Evan Wells, who's been there for 25 years. That's insane. That's a quarter life, dude. Like he's been there through thick and thin with Naughty Dog, through all the successes and all the downsides of that company, and wow, like the stories that he must have, right? But you know what? It's good for him. It's good for him that he decided to, like take a step back and like, like at least because he is retiring. I don't think he's gonna show up and like create another company or whatever. Um, although he might, I don't know. People get bored. But you know what? It's good for him. Kudos. You put in your hours, you put in your work. You made some amazing games. You headed a studio that has done amazing things. So yeah, good for him. and hope that he gets the well deserved rest that he deserves. Um, and yeah, I mean Neil Druckmann is there. I'm pretty sure he'll steer the ship well there at Naughty Dog. Um, Plus, they get support from their parent company anyway, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. But it is a big deal because it is someone who's leaving the company who's been there for, I want to say almost forever, but it like 25 years. That feels like forever. um, so yeah, that's good for him. So I hope Evan Wells has a good one. Um, and like I'm pretty sure everybody at Naughty Dog is gonna miss him. I don't think anything. I don't think we have to worry about anything in terms of like development at Naughty Dog in this regard. Um, I don't think he's like leaving for any particular reason other than that. Speaking of leaving, but not really. Remember Xbox Live? I mean, I'm sure you do if you're an Xbox player, because you need Xbox Live. Well, you needed Xbox Live to be able to play online, and well, the Xbox Live is not going away in the sense as like they're making online play free to play. Wow, wouldn't that be nice? No, 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 no. They are rebranding Xbox Live into a part of Game Pass. So Game Pass currently has three tiers. So you have Xbox Game Pass console, which is of course for the console. So for Xbox, uh, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and then you have Game Pass PC for obviously PC games, and then you have Ultimate, which literally covers everything and includes online multiplayer support. Before, or at least currently, you needed an Xbox Live Gold membership to be able to play online multiplayer on your console. Of course, that was separate of Game Pass, which is a game subscription. Now they have converted that, changed it, and upgraded it. So games with gold, rest in peace. Um, I'm sure there are the two people that still enjoyed games with gold will be very upset that that's going away. I'm sorry, seriously. Were people still like? Did people still care about that? I don't know. Yeah, so it's being rebranded to Game Pass Core, which is still the same price, so $9.99 a month or $60 a year, which gets you the online multiplayer. Of course, it gets you a catalog of over 25 high quality games for the console, 25, and member deals and discounts as before. So that is the new rebranded Xbox Live Gold, which is now called Game Pass Core. So 25 high quality games for the console. So this is not for the PC because the PC doesn't need an online multiplayer because the online multiplayer on PC is for free. But I digress. Yeah, so Xbox console is still the same thing, but it doesn't offer online. For your console, it's just Game Pass. Same goes for PC, but again, PC already has that. Plus, the PC, of course, offers EA Play membership, and then Ultimate is everything plus the online stuff as well, which recently got a price hike. So great. Yeah, I know it's like a buck more or something, but it is like that's still a lot. Like if you count it up for 12 months, seriously. Um, so yeah, end of an era. It is interesting because Xbox Live. Like when did I go first for Xbox Live Gold? Was like I think 2002. Yeah, so 2002 to 2023. That is well, it's almost 21 years. It almost made it 21 years. That's crazy. Is that right? Yeah. Holy smokes. I You know what it is? It feels It feels like Microsoft are still like the young guns in the gaming industry, but they've been around for over 20 years now. That is that is insane. That is so insane. Um I guess like PlayStation is also getting up there. Um Geez, that's like what, 94? That I think they're getting into like 30 years. Ugh, wow. Okay. Uh I think that's next year. I think they might actually. I don't know if they'll do a big 30-year anniversary thing. That would be interesting, right? But yeah, rest in peace, Xbox Live Gold. Uh, you served your purpose as a brand. Now you're gonna get folded into Game Pass, which I feel like they should have done that a long time ago. I also feel like they just should have folded in online multiplayer to just the console version instead of having the separate core version that gives you less games but also costs like $1 less a month. It's weird. But yeah, so I think starting later this month. No, starting September 14th. Why did I think it was this month? So September 14th. So September 14th is when it goes down. This, I'm assuming, that means that the end of this month there is not going to be a refresh of Games for Gold. Oh, good grief! I'm sorry. It is Games for Gold. It was adorable. It was, for at least for the time when it came out, it was obviously there to compete with the PlayStation Plus games. And that makes sense, of course, right? Because they had to compete somehow. But then they did Game Pass, so it was like, oh, that's like a way better proposition. Um, I don't know if you could call Core the best deal in gaming, but it is very clever that that's the only one that offers online gameplay for the cheap. And you know what, it might still be a good deal because maybe it's 25 highly. They say it's highly anticipated game, like highly high quality games. I don't know what that means. We don't know what it is. We don't know what we don't know what it means. I don't know what that means. Um, oh, it means, yeah, like a bunch of games that most people probably already have. Most of them are Xbox, so that's something. Um, yeah, I don't think they outside of like, okay, so outside of like Among Us and Descenders, yeah, most of these games are just like Xbox games. Like you have your Fable, you have your Fallout, you have your Forza, you have your Gears. But there's also stuff in there, um, like Doom Eternal, Humans Fall Flat, Among Us, like I already said. Um, yeah, but most of them are just like Xbox games. So yeah, I don't know. It depends on the person, right? It depends on who you're asking and thinking that if it's a good deal or not. I don't know. Is it something for me? Not really. Uh, but yeah, it is. It is what it is. It's there now. Um, but you know what else is also going to be there now, or at least, well, not here, not for Xbox, but for Sony. Um, with the whole deal with the FTC losing their court case and losing their appeal, which I forgot to mention. They tried to appeal it, and the appeal was denied. Um, they finally landed that 10-year deal with Sony that they've done with everybody else for Call of Duty. The one that Nintendo got and the one that GeForce Now got and a bunch of other like cloud gaming services got, that Microsoft did to like show regulators around the world that, hey, look, we're gonna have Call of Duty come up on these services as well as our own. You don't have to worry. We'll share Call of Duty. We may not share everything else, but we will share Call of Duty because that's all that matters, right? So yeah, Sony finally agreed to the 10-year deal. which I think goes in, which goes in as of this year. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Um, so it's not like an in perpetuity thing. Mm, no, because they still have a deal that ends, over a couple of years. So yeah, I think it starts like from like 2027 onwards. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. Again, not a big Call of Duty fan, so yeah, I could take it or leave it. Um, but yeah, they made the deal. At least for now, you don't have to worry about Call of Duty not coming to PlayStation if you're a PlayStation fan, which is interesting because apparently the reason why certain games have not appeared on PlayStation 5 yet, like Minecraft, is because PlayStation refused to give Mojang the dev kits for the PlayStation 5. Um, trade secrets and all. That seems to be the reasoning. Um, so yeah, I guess with this they also have to give Mojang their dev kits. I'm assuming, maybe not right away, but eventually, so that they Microsoft can actually have those games appear on their platforms. It's weird. I don't get it. I mean, I kind of get it, but I also don't get it. It's weird. Um, yeah. So good for them. Good for them. Good for them. Since they wanted it so badly. Jeez. Seriously, Sony. Like, put on that brave face and like, or not brave face, put on that sad face and all be like, oh where, no, I want my Call of Duty. They're gonna take away my Call of Duty. No, wait. Jeez. Just, you know what? It's fine. I'm just glad that this is finally gonna be behind us. The only thing that I would honestly hope for is that Microsoft actually does take it seriously when they say, like, we're going to look at the library of Activision Blizzard and we're going to be putting out, hopefully looking at franchises that have been laying dormant at Activision Blizzard for like literally decades, and seeing stuff that might be interesting for people to want to go back to. Personally, I would like to see a excellent new version of Rock and Roll Racing, and just, man, Rock and Roll Racing was so good. It was so fun. It was so different for the time. I feel like if you did Rock and Roll Racing now, you would be able to make something really special, assuming you get all the licenses, right? Like, they could, of course, they could just do what they did back in the 90s and just have them be like orchestrated versions of these songs without the lyrics. I feel like if they were able to make a good deal with the record labels, just do what they did with Guitar Hero back in the day when they were getting serious. Get like the actual songs, not covers. Covers are also, actually, you know what? Covers are fine if the covers are good, but get the original songs, man. Seriously, I would love to actually listen to the actual "Born to Be Wild" while I'm careening off like this big steep hill while kicking in the boost and laying down traps, for the rivals behind me, and like them slipping on my oil slick or getting exploded by one of my cannon shots. That would be so cool. And then I'll also have that kick-ass like narrator narrating the race, and of course like the podium, announcements, like Jake takes a first place knockout, uh Snake comes in second, Viper comes in at a weak third, and I forget what the other racer's name is, but like, Turbo is in another time zone, something like that. Damn, I really love that stuff. It was such a good, like, it was such a good game too. Dang. Activision has a lot of like these cool IPs that they have never touched again. Thank you, Bobby Kotick, because greedy Bobby Kotick. Um, and yeah, it's kind of a shame. Like, they could have put out like smaller titles, even if they're not million sellers. They will bring in the money that you need, right? Not everything has to be gosh darn microtransactions. You could put out smaller titles that also bring in the moolah. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of like what indie titles have kind of taken over from, right? It's just I don't know. It's really a shame. I really do hope that if if and when the deal obviously goes through, not so much if but more when, that Microsoft really does look at those IPs and look at stuff that they can like put out. Not everything has to be a gosh darn big blockbuster. Not everything has to be big. Bring on some smaller titles. People like bites. Like people like chicken nuggets. Like give us the chicken nuggets of gaming. Just give us the chicken nuggets of gaming. It's all I'm asking for. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. So yeah, that was a little bit of a tangent, but you know what's not a tangent? EA making another Marvel game. So we know that EA has a studio working on a Iron Man game, but they're also working on a Black Panther game, which is interesting because it is literally everything that EA execs probably kind of hate about modern day video games that people really like. Um, so yeah, it is. Dang it, who's making this? Cliffhanger Games is making this, and it is a open world single player game, narrative driven, with at least at this point in time no microtransactions. I would almost think that this was not being made by EA and this is a joke, but they're publishing it. Cliffhanger Studios is developing the game. I don't know when this game is supposed to come out, since it's literally just been announced. I don't think. Here's the thing: don't expect this game to come out anytime soon. If if anything, my money is on the game is in pre-production. Um, my money's on that it's in pre-production, and they're also looking for people for the studio. I think. Um, so yeah, expect this game to be, well, by this trajectory, the way things are going, the odds are it might actually come out on next generation systems. Um, yeah, I mean, I think at best, at the earliest, this game probably won't come out until 2025, and that is assuming the development went smooth. It could also be 2026 or 2027. I have no idea. Nobody has any idea because they haven't official. I think like we know that it's happening, right? Gonna take some time. So here's my thing: Cliffhanger Games should just take their sweet ass time and make the best game they can possibly can. Because if you look at the great landscape of gaming, we haven't like there like the more recent superhero games have been kind of all over the place, right? With the Rockstar trilogy of Batman games just being excellent. People don't tend to count Batman Origins. I don't know why. I've never played it, so fair point. But that those games, excellent. Then you have Marvel Avengers. Mm. Then you have Marvel Spider-Man, which everybody loves, including myself, and Spider-Man Miles Morales, which I also really loved. Finished both games. Loved the poop out of both of them. Um, and then, of course, we're getting Spider Man 2 later this year, which is going to be super awesome after the trailers that we've seen. So, we've had some good superhero games. Um, is the Iron Man one going to be good? I don't know. We had an Iron Man virtual reality game. I have no idea if that game was good or not. I don't have a VR headset. And quite frankly, I don't really care for like doing leap to do's and going 50 miles, 100 miles an hour, and throwing up, um, or having the feeling of throwing up. um, I don't know if that game was received well or not. VR is. honestly, in the grand scheme of things, such a small pool of like like the gaming pool as a whole. I don't know. If any of you played the Iron Man VR game, please let me know if you thought it was good or not. I have no idea. Um, Also too lazy to look up reviews for it. um, yeah, I mean, it, we'll see. We'll see, right? Between also, yeah, let's not forget the whole like Gotham Knights thing debacle, and well, not debacle might be a strong word. But yeah, not that great, and of course, Squad being lambasted um, for it being a looter shooter of all things. Why is it a looter shooter? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. You know what also makes no sense to me whatsoever? The Last of Us Part Two might be getting remastered if the composer of the game is to be believed, because he may have let slipped out that because apparently he had a character in Part Two that was modeled after his likeness and yada yada yada, and he made like this. He was like in this interview, and he made like this very, very, very fun quote uh, that they that they touched up on the in-game version of himself in part two. And he was telling an interviewer that in the new version of the game, you can go up to him and request certain songs. Uh, but he did make clear that he couldn't say anything more on the matter. I was like, bruh, were you even allowed to talk about it in the first place? At all? Since like Sony hasn't said anything about this. It's like, how do these leaks keep happening? It's like when Norman Reedus like just casually let it slip that Death Stranding is getting a sequel, and the voice actor for Venom in Marvel Spider-Man 2 uh just casually let it slip that it's coming out in October, and then it was proven to be true. It's like, what is wrong with these slips? What are y'all, Tom Holland all of a sudden? What the hell? It's like these leaks coming from. Here's the thing, right? At least from the actors' perspectives, I can get it, right? They may or may not have been part of like the grand scheme of things that is called the video game industry, that is known to be super duper secretive, right? NDAs exist for a very specific reason in the gaming industry. I feel like those are different from NDAs for the movie industry. I'm assuming because the gaming industry is very precise in how they release stuff, and they want to keep it under wraps because they have like a whole trajectory planned out for like announcing games months in advance. But I have to feel that the composer for The Last of Us too would know better, because I'm assuming that they've composed for like the game industry for a lot longer. I don't know if he thought that it was announced. I don't know if they told him that it was okay to talk about it or to bring it up. I don't know how anything works anymore these days. It might have been a strategic, like, soft leak to leak the game out because, well, considering everything that's going on at Naughty Dog, you're having your co-president retire before the end of the year. You're having allegedly issues with your multiplayer game to the point where Bungie developers came and tested the game and said it wasn't good enough. And you had a kind of crappy like remaster launch earlier this year, especially the PC port of The Last of Us Part 1. So I don't know I don't know who this is for. Even if you're like saying that it's a remaster for a PC release and PlayStation 5 as a bonus, Okay, so the PC release would make sense if they're saying like we're releasing it on PC. But if you're just gonna do it so that people have to pay another $70 for the PlayStation 5 version, that's gonna be interesting because I know for a fact that the Last of Us Part 2 got some compatibility upgrades if you played The Last of Us Part 2 on a PlayStation 5. I don't think they added adaptive trigger and haptic feedback, or at least if they did, it wasn't as prominent. Um, but they raised the game to 60 frames per second on PlayStation 5 if you played it on a PlayStation 5. So it's kind of weird, right? Like, what is the point of this remaster of Part 2? Like, who is this really for? And can you afford to burn more bridges? Because I feel like this would burn more bridges than it would mend them, unless they say, like, oh, if you already own the game, like you pay $10 more and then you get the PlayStation 5 version digitally or whatever. Or you get access to the PlayStation 5 version, the native version. And of course, they're going to be releasing it then for PC because I'm assuming that that's the whole reason why they're remastering it, because they're working on a PC version. So you might as well kill two birds with one stone. That's what I'm assuming that's the case. Um, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see because, as far as I can tell, there isn't anything that Sony has hinted at, or there haven't been any rumors that Sony's going to have like a state of play or whatever anytime soon. I don't think, if there was something to be announced, the earliest moment that we would figure that out would be at most likely Tokyo Game Show. But I think Sony has a small presence at Tokyo Game Show. I think I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to check that later, another time. But yeah, they will be at Tokyo Game Show, but I think their presence will be relatively small. And I don't think something like The Last of Us Part 2 would make a big splash at Tokyo Game Show, since that tends to try and focus on the Japanese market. Um, it's super weird. It's super weird. I don't know. It's funny. It's super weird and it's funny to me. Um, and lastly, the thing that I want to talk lastly, but definitely not the least, is so remember, when was this again? This was a couple of months ago already. Um, so a couple of months ago. I don't remember exactly how long ago this was again. I think it was. I think it was this year, early this year. Rockstar Games got hacked, and yeah, a bunch of stuff pertaining to the development of GTA 6 got leaked. A whole bunch of, I want to say, alpha footage or pre-alpha footage even, or pre-alpha, because yeah, yeah, pre-alpha, because they're like debug stuff in the screen and whatnot, and like kind of semi-generic models um, going about and stuff got released. And the person or persons at least responsible for it did eventually get caught. One of them, alleged, the at least the accused hacker in this time, Ariane Kurtaj, who's a teenage member of the Lapis hacking group, um, got caught, of course, in the UK, and he's facing 12 charges, at least one of which is, well, not even one, three counts of blackmail, two counts of fraud, and six charges under the UK's Computer Misuse Act. Yikes! Yeah, yeah. This is not the first time that hacker group has done something like this before, but this is the first time that he's been caught. And they've been doing this to other companies as well, like Revolut, Uber, Nvidia. Also been blackmailing them. Way to go, kid! With your skills, you could have done so much more in like the tech industry. And no, you decided you're gonna hack the big boys and think you can get money from them, and then you got caught. Um, Don't know what's gonna happen to him. It's still ongoing. I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, the leak of the footage of the pre pre alpha, I don't know what you would call it. Footage of the GTA 6 did not really do Rockstar a lot of favors. Um, because of course the game is nowhere near finished, and of course armchair developers are like, this looks not good, this looks very bad, so bad, why it looks so bad, I don't know why Batman. uh like, dude, like, you've never seen a game in development before. Like, this actually doesn't look bad for a game that's still in, like, highly still in development, like in relatively early days. Like, even earlier than this, you'd probably have footage of like nothing but stick figures and blocks moving around just to make sure that the locomotion of the game works as they wanted to. So yeah, no, like, just it kind of sucks that GTA 6 had to leak in this manner. I mean, everybody already knew that GTA 6 was in development. The matter at hand was like, when can we expect it to come out? And we still don't know when we can expect it to come out, but I'm still guessing it's still a couple of, from the footage that at least we saw. Who knows how old that footage was, by the way, because I'm assuming that it was not like made day and date um, when it was like leaked. So yeah, assume that that's probably from even further back in development than when it leaked. Um, who knows? It could be next year. It could also be 3 years from now. Who the flip knows? And honestly, who cares? The main thing is, of course, that they're hard at work at it. Just let the team do its thing. Hopefully, they actually make a good game, and yeah, people can finally be released of the prison that is GTA Online. Holy crap, it's crazy that that's still running. Actually, it's crazy that GTA 5 came out on like the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 and has made it all the way here to the series and PlayStation 5, and it's still going strong only on the power of GTA Online. That is crazy. It's also really sad because that meant that there was no single player DLC ever made for GTA 5, if I'm not mistaken. Just like content for GTA Online. So, but yeah, I think that is gonna be it. Wow, no Nintendo news this week that I talked about. That does not seem right. Oh, okay. Since we didn't have any Nintendo news, I will say this: Pikmin 4 is dropping on the 21st. If you're listening to this, that's coming up really soon. If you're interested, the Pikmin 4 demo is on Switch, and I think it covers the prologue of the game, so the save file transfers over to the full game. If you have been enjoying that game, that's a lot of game. And yeah, I think that is going to be it for me today. Like I said, I will try to keep it short, partially also because I was sick for a while. So all I've been playing is Stardew Valley to make me feel better. But I'm good now. As you can hear, I'm sounding way better than I did in the previous episode because I was still sick back then. Um, but yeah, thank you so much for being here. As always, you can find Game Rivals on any of your favorite podcasting services. Of course, our home is on Spotify, but you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, Pocket Cast, whatever podcasting service, you can find us there. You can also send feedback via email, which is gamerivalsfeedback@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at Maximilian, or the Game Rivals Twitter at game underscore rivals underscore. Game Rivals or myself are not on Threads because Threads is not available in the Europe as of right now because, Europe actually has decent laws when it comes to privacy. So Meta has to get their act together if they want to ever release Threads in the Europe. So yeah, I guess I'll have to wait until that day. But you can find me on Instagram at Maximilian underscore X. I'm also on TikTok, same at Maximilian underscore X. Or on YouTube, of course, where you're looking at right now. I also have my own channel on YouTube, which is at Maximilian underscore X. And if you're listening to this on the audio version, geez, you can find the YouTube version of Game Rivals, which is youtube.com at Game Rivals, all one word. Um, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's all the places that you can reach me at. And of course, I am streaming on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Maximilian underscore X. I stream whenever possible every Tuesday and Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Central European Summertime, for a couple of hours every Tuesday and Thursday, and any day that I am able to stream in between. So that is truly it for me. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. I have been and always will be Maximilian X, and I'll see you all, of you beautiful rivals, next time.